Well, welcome back to Weigh-In. Here we are in the stabling complex here at Ellerslie. What a fantastic complex it is as well. Very similar to a Randwick/Flemington. Great room for the horses and the tie-ups as well. And also for the owners, they get a great opportunity to get nice and close and personal with their charge.
Well, it's back. Ellerslie, it didn't look like too many sort of turned up for the day because there was plenty of on in Auckland yesterday, but she looked in fine fettle, I thought, on the pitches.
Stables are great. Track looked good, but the stables are fantastic. The old stables, Bruce, were just horrendous. They were a dungeon, so dark, and this... You can now go and look at horses, which is what racing should be about.
Oh, that's the key. Owners want some interaction. They want to be able to see their horse when they go in the race. They don't want to be looking into a dark tunnel to try, is that my horse down there? But
well, you actually weren't allowed in the old stables.
No,
at
I remember I couldn't find Ombre Rose once. No. She was way right in the dark court.
Now the track, most of the jockeys I spoke to said track was really good. Yep. One jockey who didn't have a fun day at the office was Opie Bosson, early doors. And Doyce jumps out of the gate, bangs his foot, and foot blows up and it's a bit bigger than it needs to be, so he was parked for the rest of the day. Went to the hospital. This is such an Opie story. He said, I didn't get an X-ray because I had to wait too long. But he did say, I'll be back riding on Melbourne Cup Day out of Ellerslie. So nothing too serious for Opie, even though he missed part of the day, including the ride on Queen of the Air and the soliloquy. Here is Doyce, there's Opie, copping it, squat, bang, ouch.
Into the side of this.
So what's happened here is he's in such pain that he's decided to pull it up.
Yeah, well, it must have hurt. Like, Opie's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And Doyce has been pulled up. So he missed the ride on Queen of the Air in the soliloquy.
Didn't miss
ended
much.
up leading the race, and this is the key race of the day. Media sensation. Bookie's got this so wrong. Gee, they mucked this up. She's a really, really good horse. Here she is from the inside, Bruce. Kicks off the gate hard, the daughter of I Am Invincible. Leads. Gets attacked by the Te Akau horse, Michael Coleman, nice and patient. And on this, Bruce, I would suggest they've probably got to roll the dice and head to Riccarton.
Absolutely. Well, Queen of the Air, just look at it. He tried to slot in the apprentice, but she just took control and charged to the front. So that was the end of the race favourite, Queen of the Year. Media sensation, she shows her adaptability. We saw her only last week at Rotorua, going back, getting a little keen and finishing off a race. That's the way we've seen her both times this time in. Today they put her forward, they used her pace from the gates and she actually settled better. So she's going the right way. I've got a little query over the race. It was the slowest of the 1400 metres, the 1400 metre race on the day. It hasn't got a great closing 600 metres, 35.89. There was an opportunity for something to get home and nothing really does, but media sensation dominant. Annie okay in those orange colours, just her second start, she's really good. Queen of the Year, puncturing back on the inside, and Valali's making good ground out wide. London Express didn't have the clearest of runs, starting to work home through the pack there, but media sensation, I thought just too good, ridden differently, and she produced some adaptability to win that.
Yeah, she was all class there, I thought.
Yeah, she's a big, strong girl. She looked really good from the trials last year. Went to Avondale, won twice, debut, then next up. And they had a little bit of a setback at the start of this campaign. She got quite hot before that race. So yeah, you would suggest she's not a natural 1600 metre horse, and maybe that Melt and Expression are more likely to cop the 16 than her. But when you pay $425,000 for them, and Barneswood Farm are breeders, you're going to want to give her a crack. The other thing too is she was sold out of Karaka. So they do have the option, if they didn't go to Riccarton, to hold their horses and wait for the Karaka Million 3-year-old Classic. But they've got two bites at the cherry there, and I would suggest the Greens, being Southerners from Ashburton, of course, they'll be pretty keen to have her down on their homish track at Riccarton come the last day of the carnival.
I think the Williams will be very happy with their little project that's going on, given that race pattern yesterday, because as Bruce said, she jumped out, then settled in behind, and then showed a lot of ticker up the straight. A lot of encouragement for media sensation and other runners too in the post-match of the soliloquy yesterday.
Yeah, she's got a real good race sense, you know, she travelled beautifully, and she comes off the bridle for you and races in a nice even tempo, and, you know, just really comfortable within herself. So she's got good race sense, so that will hold her in good stead in some of these bigger stuff.
Yeah, and naturally now, do you think she's ready for a 1600 metre task?
Look, I thought she was strong enough at the end of 14. I don't think they were going to get past it just because of sense them coming up to 150 to go, and she really dug in and kicked strong to the line. So I think the way she races, she's a chance to run the mile down at Riccarton.
She enjoyed a good run in a little bit of a tricky race. They were sort of starting and stopping the speed, but she relaxed quite nice and showed a bit of turn of foot in the straight, and she'll be better suited to a mile.
Huge run. It's only second start now, and it went from winning a maiden to a top 3-year-old field, and it proved it's good enough. And I think it's a horse that's going to improve when it gets up to a mile. And no, I really like the horse, and it's going to show it in the future.
Yeah, look, she never travelled the whole race, and she was caught wide, and to her credit, she hit the line really well.
Yeah, look, I was just held up a little bit turning for home. Probably costing me some time, but found the line strong.
Out of the race, 2 scratchings. Loose Cannon, who was looking a really good chance in the 1,000 guineas coming up. She's out after an X-ray revealed a bone chip. She goes for an operation, mate.
And spoke to Lisa Letter this morning about Secret Allure. She had a slight temperature, blood was out during the week. They haven't given up on heading to the 1,000 guineas with her, so they might give her another race next week and try and get her to the guineas. Princess Amelie, who won the first at Trentham yesterday, though, won't be going to the guineas. She'll be sticking to the sprinting. So one potential, one no for Lisa out of her 2 3-year-olds. One who raced yesterday, one who did not.
Meanwhile, down south, they just clicked the distance up a wee bit to 1,600 metres in the Zakinto Stakes. Who thrived and who not so much? Let's have a look as they bust the gates open. And this was a race that they ran around 1:37 in, so it wasn't another fast race, Bruce, but I suppose we were watching horses like In a Twinkling, Emily Margaret. How would it step up? Friar Show wasn't lucky in the end, but the winner quite dominant, the Chosen One.
Yeah, big step up for the Chosen One, coming out of a Waverley race, having just her second start, controlled it nicely off the front. She just keeps improving. Outside, Emily Margaret's getting quite keen in those striped colours. And probably the best maiden in the country, Mohawk, are back in the black and white checkers following Emily Margaret. But this horse failed to make a reserve in 2017 New Zealand Bloodstock Yearling Sale, and obviously still racing in the Dennis colours, that very famous breed. But love the way she switches off and relaxes. The overall run time obviously turns out slow, given how slowly they've run, but the closing sectional's tidy enough in the context of the day. And just when they came around it for a moment as they straightened, you thought she was in trouble, and how much would she find it? They've swooped up, they've gone so slowly, it set it up that something could come with really good momentum and bomb her. But just that, she just continued to build. She doesn't have a huge turn of foot, but her last 200 metres really good, and she really does put them to the sword here. In a Twinkling, good effort off the slow speed, working home out wide, and Mohawk are coming home through the pack. Was beaten in a maiden race last time, but back to black type company here, racing really well. Really good win though by this horse, Mick.
Look, it's only his second start. You've done what I've done before. Sometimes you get a her stuck in your head and it's a he, and then you start going. I've done it plenty of times on TV. He's obviously a boy, and he's one of our 3 chances for Baker Forsman in the Guineas. Now, Matt Cameron said, regardless of how good that horse goes, and he was super yesterday, he's going to stick with Madison County, who was really good in the Sarton the other day after getting back in the field. Spoke to Murray Baker this morning. This horse definitely goes to the Guineas, went from 14s to 5s yesterday, and Kiji Express also joins him, so they've got 3 chances. Sir Nate is another one who's heading to the 2,000 Guineas. That's on the first day of the carnival. Here he is at Trentham taking on the older horses. Now, once the rain came and he was able to get his toe into the ground, he just was going to be a happier horse. Biggest surprise here is that he actually drifted way past his tote quote. Now, there was a lot of tempo in front here. They rolled
went crazy. Look at the closing sectional, easily the slowest of the day, 37. It was suicidal stuff up front.
I thought a game performance though, Bruce. Like,
yeah, he's close enough to them. Like the first and second past the line, Irish Flame, and it wasn't as if they were standing up this fast tempo. A lot of links. They were 3rd and 4th and had to bring the field up. But good efforts, and always really good to see a 3-year-old beating the older horses. It's not hard to do, not easy to do under handicapped conditions this time of year.
No, so Lisa confirmed this morning he'll head to Riccarton for the Guineas, where one would suggest once again some cut in the track would probably help him. But the bookies gave you out to $5, which I thought was very generous, considering he's a pretty classy animal. That wasn't the major 3-year-old lead up of the week. That was the Sarton last Monday at Te Rapa, and well, boy, sort of Osman. I'm not sure this was the most convincing win in the world, but Bruce, it was a win.
Yeah, well, Madison County, I guess the intriguing part out of the race is how negative out of the barriers he is. It was always looked like there wasn't a lot of pace and just couldn't hold a spot. Madison County gets keen and gets a long way back in a race that's really slowly run, closing 634.19. tells the tale, but Opie Boston just setting up shop up front. Even KG Express not tackling the speed, takes the trail.
He's
Madison
just meandering
County
to the front
Oh,
there.
it's just absurd how slow they went, and how I can't believe no one enforced some speed at any time in the race. KG Phoenix follows.
So if you're Matt Cameron, what do you do here though?
I think he had to be more positive out of the barriers,
Well,
but
go
maybe this is a preconceived plan in terms of getting a horse to switch off for a 2,000 guineas, but it doesn't help anyone who backed it from 220 into $1.70.
They haven't even gone there yet, have they?
No, still on the bridle. He's getting the only thing I will say about Madison County, he's about 4 lengths off here, and he doesn't make any ground. You would have expected him to take some ground off these leaders. KG Express over on the fence misses a run on the fence. If he'd got that run, he would have won for sure. But now working home out wide, Madison County, but just, I don't know, is it Tarapa that he hasn't finished off? The track, they said it's better, but there's still a lot of kickback and quite hard to close. The last 4 leaders won.
So that was the bold print contenders in that race, and Madison County still at $2.80.
And what it does is it opens up the race, because Madison County, if they ride him like that, he's beatable in the 2,000 guineas.
Well, any horse getting back is. The Chosen One's probably got a little bit short for what he is just yet. Sort of Osman has the tactical speed to be a huge factor.
He won't get away with that at Riccarton, though.
No, I agree. Dawn Patrol, we've all seen how good he is. Our Flying Ace the same. Melt, I haven't heard from Nigel whether he's intending on heading to that, but sort of doubtful. She's obviously better placed here, but this is a pretty strong race. Expression, Media Sensation, Loose Cannon is now out, as you have heard. I doubt Queen of the Air would go after that performance yesterday, and Princess Emily down the bottom there also not attending Riccarton. So boys, we have some pretty open racing for our first classics of the season.
Those 2 races, they're going to be smashes, aren't they?
Yeah, always are, every year.